He's a singer, songwriter, and prolific saxophonist. Nigerian artist Seun Kuti is also the youngest son to the late Afrobeat maestro Fela Kuti. Seun, welcome to Sahara TV.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, good, good. Thank you very much for being patient with us in trying to do this. But anyway, we'll go straight into it. So in the past, I know that you've been an active member of the Occupy Nigeria protests, against fuel subsidy removal policy of President Goodluck Jonathan. Can you just tell us how, what inspired you to be part of this?
Well, for me, when we started the protest, it was not really, we didn't really call it Occupy anything, This happened maybe like after the third day or fourth day. Then, as usual, we try to link it up to what we see in the West on the news. It was national duty. I believe it was an anti-people policy because Christian Lagarde was in Nigeria in December, putting pressure on our president. And on the 1st of January, he made it public that he had cowed to the pressure of the IMF, and increased the prices of petrol on the people of Nigeria, which was removed the subsidy, which more than doubled the price of petrol overnight without any warning, basically. So,
okay,
it was national duty, and I believe that every Nigerian felt that it was our chance, to start a new kind of democracy where the rulers begin to listen to the people.
Okay, so now we fast forward. This was obviously 2012, 13, 14. Now fast forward to 2015. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has initiated a scheme aimed at getting kerosene to consumers across the country at a regulated price of like 50 naira per liter. What do you think about this? Is this success story?
Well, our government, they say a lot of things. Even the president was on CNN saying he doesn't think electricity is a problem in Nigeria anymore. They can ask any Nigerian.
Right. And
when CNN came to Nigeria to ask everybody, it was a different story.
Well,
so for me, it's not for me. Our government, and not just Nigerian government, not just Jonathan's administration. I think since the beginning of this democratic dispensation, every government that has come to power has said one thing and done the other, basically. So I believe we should take everything with a pinch of salt in Nigeria when we are told, especially by our political office holders.
So the timing of it all, what would you think?
No, of course,
Since the president asked all the Nigerians, what's your take on the timing?
That's what I was coming to, the timing is quite calculating, For me, it is not a coincidence that these announcements are always made during a few weeks to the elections, because really, there's nothing that this administration has brought to the life of the people in general that has touched the life of every Nigerian. Like I can say, I always tell my friends, Obasanjo, approved the GSM scheme, and that was all he had to say at the end of everything. That at least he connected Nigeria to telephones. Under his administration, everybody started having mobile phones and communicate. And that's something that impacted everybody's life and businesses and things like that. But this administration cannot point to one thing, and there are so many things that could have been done. I mean, in Nigeria, we still don't have emergency services. I mean, if I'm being robbed right now, I can't call the police. There's no 911, 999, there's no ambulance service. These are things that could have been achieved if it was a priority. And the president moves around with thousands of security, personal doctor, and ambulance. So he knows that security and health is important.
So he knows that security is an issue that needs to be addressed, right? Now, let's say you made a statement, and this statement was misconstrued, according to you. that you say that you are not going to vote for any one of them, and I'm talking about General Buhari and also President Goodluck Jonathan. And also you made reference to the reason why you won't vote for Buhari was because of a personal issue, which I think you can elaborate. And then you also said you were not really going to vote. Now, you are a model citizen, a person people look up to, your whole family too. So now, if you make statements where you are not going to exercise your right to voice, what do you think people are going to think about that?
Well, for me, I know it's impossible because the youth of Nigeria are not yet that organized. But, you know, this is a politician's election. If we were organized enough and at that level of organization where we have our own platform and things like that, and we could say we boycott the election because we are not represented. And when I say we are not represented, I'm talking about age. You know, I'm not really an ageist. You know, wisdom has nothing to do with age, and ability has nothing to do with age. You know, I mean, Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman, and he was 10 years older than him in a physical activity like boxing. You know, so it's never about age in anything that we do. It's about wisdom and how much of ourselves we are willing to give. You know, and I do not believe that the issues that are being tackled are things that are going to affect us in 30, 40, 50 years. When all these people are dead, we are going to be the ones to be alive, you know, to carry on and live through whatever is done today, you know. And I don't see policies in Nigeria today. I don't see any of the candidates that are meeting my aspirations on that level. You understand what I'm saying? You know, I mean, no president should come and be saying, I'll give you light, water, and roads. This is 2015. You know, if this is what you are still saying, I'm coming to tackle corruption and all these kind of things. You know, for me, it is not what any modern African should be aspiring towards. You know, I want to hear how our governance is going to be more inclusive, how economics is going to be more inclusive, you know, how society is going to be generally more inclusive. And these are the things that are going to spur the development that we want. Because if everything is more inclusive and everybody has access to a decent level of everything, I mean, every day we want to build dam and power stations. Who is saying maybe an African kid, you know, taught properly, cannot come up with the right idea to power the world in a different way, you know? I mean, so for me, you know, it is sixes and half a dozen, you know.
Okay, so this election, Valentine's Day, you're going to hang out with your madam and say, okay.
No, not really. For me, you know, people are being intimidated, you know, all over the country about who to vote for, you know, so I still have a duty, you know. For me, I'm not saying people should not vote, you know, I would love to vote, but this is a protest vote. Even if people vote against the president, it's not really a vote for progress per se. It will be a protest vote, and they deserve to protest, you know, with their vote and say this government has not represented us. And Nigerians, I believe, any Nigerian that is not really, you know, would feel, okay, I want to protest with my vote, and they are entitled to that, you know. But for me, I want to also educate people on why they should vote, you know, and why they should vote for someone, because I don't want people to vote on sentiment and because of, you know, fear, you know. So everybody still has a duty, you know, and the right is not that I have a right to vote for one candidate. I have the right to vote or not to vote. The fact that I'm not voting is also exercising my rights.
Okay, cool. Now, you just recently had a baby girl. Congratulations.
My family will not be around on Valentine's Day anyway.
Okay. So now, what kind of ideal Nigeria do you expect for your little girl?
As I said, I want a Nigeria that is more inclusive. You know, I want a Nigeria where nobody is given an unfair advantage in things that belong to everybody. You know, I believe that natural resources and national issues should include everybody. You know, nobody should have a larger share than everybody or a larger opportunity than everybody. I mean, all over Africa today, I give you an example. You go in a bank, you know, the best minds in Africa are not put in the part of the bank where you're going to develop the bank's services. No, they are thrown in the money laundering department, handling the accounts of corrupt politicians. And this is the problem that we have that is more institutional than even political. You know, it's things that, you know, with political will, the institution can change, you know. this is what I mean. You know, I can give you another example. In August 2011, you know, the government started announcing that they wanted to take out subsidy in a way. They're going to do town hall meetings,
right?
You know, which never happened. They just took it out, you know. Anyway, but before that, you know, in 2010, we had the Nigerian financial crisis, and the government paid about 14 trillion naira. 14 trillion naira comes to then, it was about, you know, $12 billion or something funny like that. Right. $12 billion to bail out all the rich people. Because in Nigeria, it was not like in America at all. You know, in Nigeria, rich people just went into the banks and got loans without collaterals. And they didn't even spend it on the business. They were buying yachts, private jets.
Right, to keep it up.
They were just living the life with the money. You know, and, you know, when the foreigners started pulling out their money because they had crisis in their countries, it affected here. And, okay, so to bail out the banks but we are still better than America because at least Nigeria, we jailed one banker, even if she spent all her sentence in a hospital.
So just one banker?
We jailed one banker.
Okay, that's a record, right?
And by jailing one banker, we are better than America because you guys didn't jail nobody. Anyway,
so now...
As I was saying, let me finish the point. And the government was willing to pay about 12 billion to bail out rich people. And in August 2010, the government also said they wanted to take out subsidy, and there was a little whatever, and it didn't happen, you know. So fast forward a year later, you know, already knowing that they wanted to take out, that the country did not have money. This is the point I wanted to make. The country did not have money to pay 8 billion subsidy for the people, but it had 12 billion to bail out rich people. Now, this is not an inclusive society. Okay. You know, this is not a society. And when we say oil in Nigeria, you know, I'm not trying to act like it's entitlement, but we have oil in Nigeria. We are the 5th largest producing country in the world. True. You know, the largest in Africa. So I don't see why we should be paying one of the highest prices in the world for petrol. It makes no sense. And we pay the highest amounts for any oil-producing nation in the world, more than 3 times the amount of other countries, the highest of the other countries.
So in conclusion, we don't have much time. As Seun Kuti, what would you say to your fellow Nigerians, you know, during this election period?
Yeah, you have a right to vote or not to vote, you know, and whatever you decide, make sure you are doing it for the benefit of the country, not for immediate gain or out of fear, you know, or because of sentiments. It has to be for the future of Nigeria. You have to believe, make sure you believe that whatever action you take come February 14th is what you believe can move the country forward.
So that was singer-songwriter and performer Seun Kuti, Skyping straight from his home in Nigeria. I'm Fungai Maboreke for SaharaTV.
SaharaTV presents